Hello and welcome to this episode of Grow Your Online Ministry series. If we're meeting for the first time, I'm Amanda Nicole, your host. And the topic for today is 7 reasons why you're creating consumers, not partners. So we're going to dive into the 7 reasons why you're creating content consumers and not partners in your online ministry. So you may be a Christian content creator, a preacher, pastor, an evangelist, mix of those with your spiritual gifts. And we're specifically going to look at the reasons why people are simply consuming your content and not sowing into your ministry. So, not sowing financially into your ministry, or there's been a decline. But these are the 7 main reasons people are consuming your content without becoming a monthly partner, without donating, all of that. And this comes from market research that I have, completed online through ministries that I sow into, as well as ones that I've been watching, observing. And in terms of professional background, my background is in donor relations, it is in fundraising, it is in marketing, where I've worked for 9 years in non-profit organisations in Australia. So that's where the foundations come from. And so very much equipped in the way of connecting with donors, plan giving strategies, all of that. Just to give you some context for how I landed here, and with the Holy Spirit prompting me to create content, video content for you, or for online ministries, so that they can really start to grow their ministries and understand how to steward the people that sow into your ministry. So, the 7 reasons why you're creating content consumers and not partners. So, let's go. So, let's consider the scenario in your online ministry. As an evangelist, a preacher, a content creator, mix of those. So let's consider the scenario in your online ministry where viewers consume your educational content, refer it to others, yet refrain from making donations, offerings, or joining your monthly partner programs. So this is specifically what's going on here. And here are the 7 reasons why it's a trust issue. So it simply comes down to trust. And we're going to dive into that in more detail. So, number 1 reason why you have people consuming your content without sowing into your ministry is there is a lack of financial transparency. So, no information on how donations, offerings, and financial gifts, I think I missed out the word gifts there, are currently being used to support your ministry work. So, there's no financial information. You're not providing anything. You might be like, hey, Amanda, I've got, 3 donors, 3 people who sow into my ministry. Awesome. Start sharing. But we're looking at the reasons why. So there's lack of financial transparency. As an online ministry, you're not sharing anything with regards to how donations are used, how offerings are used, financial gifts are used to support your ministry. So there's no financial transparency. It's all hidden. And this is still common for big, prominent online ministries. Many do it really well. Know that. Many do. But I'm focusing on those that require support there, encouragement there, correction there even, and ways to do it. But this episode is specifically on the reasons, and if you want more how-to, then connect back with some previous episodes, which we'll link in. So that's reason number 1, lack of financial transparency. Number 2, you're missing storytelling that inspires. So what I mean by that, Amanda, what does that mean? Lack of compelling stories and testimonies of how God is working through your ministry and or how donations are making a difference. So you're simply not sharing how God is moving through your ministry with your community. And you're simply not sharing how donations, how offerings are making a difference. So yes, it is similar to Number one, with regards to lack of financial transparency, but this is about the storytelling aspect. This is about the testimonies. You neglect to use the data. So what I mean by the data is what information you have in front of you on your screen, in your comments, emails, direct messages. So that's number two. You're missing storytelling that inspires, and there's lack of compelling stories that are showing how God is moving through your ministry or how donations, offerings are making a difference. And it comes down to neglecting to use the data that's right in front of you. It's there. Number three, there's no sense of monthly partners and or givers community. So there's neglect of community, whether you realize that or not. For the viewer, for the person considering sewing in, there's no sense of community there. You might be like, hey, Amanda, I respond to messages on the live stream. That's awesome. But we're talking about sense of community with your monthly partners and with those that sow into your ministry, one or two times, a few times a year. When you're only asking for financial gifts in live streams and only acknowledging people who give in the live stream, in the moment, sitting there with your phone, answering comments, engaging with people, that is incredible work. But if you're only doing that, you're actually neglecting systems and structures that you could have happening behind the scenes. And those systems come down to donor communications. So communications with your donors, with the sowers behind the scenes. So that's number three. There's no sense of monthly partners or givers community or sowers community. You may think there is, but there isn't for those that sow into your community. Number four, failure to recognize and or celebrate generosity. You're missing the gratitude for every gift, no matter the size. So whatever gift size a person gives, you're simply not acknowledging that. Maybe acknowledging the major donors, those that sow into your ministries behind the scenes, thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars behind the scenes. But what about those that are sowing into your ministry at a different amount? It can be picked up. It's a gift of discernment and people will pick it up. Some people may be unsure and just not want to donate. So your failure to recognize and or celebrate generosity, people sowing into your ministry, regardless of the gift size, that's actually why people are consuming your content. They're referring it to others, but they're not making donations, offerings, financial gifts, and it feels like a hard slog for you. It's because of these 7 reasons. This is number 4 of 7, why people simply consume your content without becoming partners, financial partners. Number 5, you neglect to demonstrate the impact of donations. So there's no visuals, there's no data, there's lack of testimonies, or it's haphazard for why people sow into your ministry. Are you actually sharing with your community why people sow, why they give? When you don't share that, then that's why people just simply consume your content. And it doesn't build a lot of trust. It could be like 3 or 4 people, for example, who have actually shared with you the reason why they give. They've filled in the note in the donation section where they can sow a gift, a financial gift. It's never been acknowledged. It's been neglected. It's just been like, oh, thanks so much for the donation with the automated receipt, and that's it. So neglect to demonstrate the impact of donations and why people give. You lose trust. Those people that are sowing into your ministry at one point might just go, oh, that's odd. I've actually shared why I give. It's interesting that, the ministry doesn't share what people sow. I'd love to learn more. I've shared mine, but I'd just love to hear a bit more. Like, these are some of the thought processes that happen, but they're also based on principles and strategies in donor communications, donor relations, obviously nuance to ministry. So my professional background, that's where I'm able to share this depth of information, nuance to online ministries. Number 6, you're focusing too much on self. I'm just going to be bold and say it. That's how it's coming across. That's what's being perceived by your viewers. You're continually commenting how many hours it takes to prepare a live stream, to create your content. And while that is important, when you're missing all these other aspects or in this particular episode, these other reasons are coming into play, that's why it sounds like a spirit of pride. That's why it sounds like a spirit of offense. That's why it comes across as you complaining. That's why it comes across as bitterness, as frustration, of exasperation towards your viewers. You're like, hey, I invest many hours or 10 hours each week into creating this content for you. I really love doing it, but they can hear the but coming before the but actually comes. So these reasons are the reasons why people are consuming your content without making financial gifts, or you've seen a decline in financial gifts of people sowing into your ministry. And perhaps behind the scenes, you're simply being held up, which is incredible, by mentors that are sowing into your ministry. But in terms of other people wanting to sow in, there's a trust issue because of these reasons, where you've got some gaps that can easily be adjusted, can be looked into and reviewed, and by all means reach out. But there's plenty of video resources available on this channel to help you, I say fill the gaps, but look at your systems and your structures and understand more. So number 6, you're focusing too much on self, whether you recognize that or not. Number 7 of the 7 is the lack of consistent calls to action. If you don't consistently and clearly invite viewers to partner with you financially, including, broadcasts, pods. I just combined blogs and posts. So if you don't consistently and clearly invite viewers to partner with you financially, including broadcasts, blogs, posts, your website, and email, they may simply consume the content without considering giving. So it goes beyond the live stream call out and on your phone. Thank you so much, Jenny. Thank you so much, Mary. Thank you so much, Emma. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Joel. Like, it's more than that. That has its place, but you need to look at stewarding your community. So these are the 7 reasons why people are simply consuming your content, they're referring it, they're absorbing it, they're making changes in their own lives. Praise the Lord. While yet you're, in terms of your ministry and stewardship, there's a trust issue going on for your viewers, because there's these, say, reasons which we've just gone through: lack of consistent calls to action. To give a recap, you're focusing too much on yourself. You're neglecting to demonstrate the impact of donations. You're failing to recognise and or celebrating generosity, no matter what size the gift, the financial gift. There's no sense of monthly partners or givers community. It's neglected. You're missing storytelling that inspires. So there's lack of connection of why people sow into your ministry through them sharing their testimonies with you. And lack of financial transparency. So without information on how donations, offerings, financial gifts are used to support your ministries, from equipment through to outreach programs. So they are the 7 reasons why people are consuming your content without sowing into your ministry. So can you see where the trust is being eroded with your viewers and ministry? I left the G off being, but can you see where the trust is being eroded with your viewers and ministry? So through these 7 reasons that we've stepped through, can you see where some gaps are, some blind spots where you can work on your trust, as in the trust that building trust with your viewers, with your community? But guess what? Trust can be restored and confidence can be built with your viewers to become monthly partners. So it can be done. It can be restored. It comes down to, systems and structures. And if there's more resources that you want to explore on how to do that, then go back through the channel and the related content, and you'll be able to start to look into that yourself. But I encourage you in terms of an action item to review where you could focus more on partnership and building a community of those 7 reasons. Maybe you've got a handful, maybe you've got a few. Just focus on 1 to 3 of them, for example, whatever it is for you, but just focus on a small number. If you're like, hey, Amanda, I'm sort of missing most of those, just focus on 1 to 3 to begin with and look at where you could start to build more of a partnership community. And if you're ready to grow your online ministry this year, you're welcome to join one-to-one coaching to take a deep dive into online ministry growth strategy. So if that's something you want to do with personalized support, where I would look at your, online ministry in terms of stewardship, in terms of how you're communicating, as in your marketing, all of that, then we would go into that into one-to-one coaching. We come up with a strategy that's specific to your online ministry, communications plan, and all that sits with that. You're welcome to be here, join the community and the email list for exclusive tips and offers. Hit subscribe for this channel. And thank you for being here. If you know someone in online ministry who needs help with growth strategies, then by all means, share this channel with them. And there's plenty of resources available for them to get started. So by all means, connect and or reach out. And I look forward to hearing about how your online ministry is starting to grow. And more monthly partners are coming on board.